directly, or you know someone, or you just care for the cause. I just want to remind you, we are first and foremost a university, so if you could please respect and maintain the academic environment as people are coming to and from classes, and classes are going on right behind you. We will start with Dr. Kinders, the Vice President of Public Affairs. Thank you.
Well, first thing, good morning and congratulations on this terrific turnout. This is exactly what you need to be doing. I'm not going to go into DACA. I'm sure you're all aware of what's happening there. There we go. Try to get a little bit closer. I'm not going to go into a definition of DACA. I'm going to assume you all know what's happening with that. And instead, rather, I wanted to salute you for your turnout and encourage you to continue to work on this as a critical issue on what's both also the right thing to do and the smart thing to do. You know, as you know, President Betts joined with hundreds, if not thousands, of other higher education institutions and associations and higher education and so many different community interest groups in decrying the decision to roll back DACA. Where things stand right now is you have a real advantage, which is 80% of the American public thinks that this was a bad decision and wants to continue to see our DACA students be protected. 80% of the American public being on your side is an important thing for you to take into consideration and do everything you can to keep their support and not lose it. So in that regard, I'll note that there are a number of things that HASA and other student organizations and faculty senate are looking to do over the course of the next couple of months, and you want to be actively engaged in those activities. Where the conversation is at right now in Congress is in the very early stages. While there are many people in the House and also in the Senate who want to see DACA stay in place, because of the fact that 80% of the American public thinks it's a really great idea, it's become a political creature on its own. In other words, it's being connected to conversations like we need immigration reform, we need to pass tax reform. DACA has nothing to do with tax reform. However, in typical Washington, D.C., if there's an opportunity to trade votes on something like this, we could very well see that kind of a conversation occur. But you can control that by the kinds of activities that you're looking at doing with letter writing campaigns, petitions. Keep in mind also that Congress will go out of session within the next several weeks, and the members will be in their home districts for the next couple of months before they return to Congress. That means there will be town halls. We'll have senators and members of Congress that will be going around, and that'll be a great opportunity for you to go out there and tell them what your positions are on DACA and not let this fall off the public's radar screen. Here at UCO, we're working on this. We're having conversations with staff for our congressional delegation. Currently, Jared Joe, many of you know him. Jared is in Washington, D.C. at flying for the presentations from each of the 5 members of Congress and our 2 senators. And I've asked Jared to get them on the record publicly in front of everybody of what their position is on DACA. So we'll see who we know are clear-cut friends that we can work with very closely throughout the entire conversation. And then also have deeper conversations with those where we're not certain of what their positions are, in order to try to turn them to our point of view. But overall, again, institutions, and about another 250,000 are in high school who are thinking about what their futures will look like. That's really important, again, from the standpoint of doing the right thing, but also doing the smart thing, of getting those exceptional young men and women through college and into our workforce to advance Oklahoma. So count on the administration. I'll be more than happy to work with any organization on your strategies and tactics to make sure that we keep this up front, and best of luck to you. I think that right is on your side. Thanks.
Thank you all for being here this morning. I am so excited. Throughout my entire career, I have had an opportunity to served in a variety of capacities, and throughout my entire career, I've been very committed to the notion of advocacy for students who are underserved. This is certainly no different. This is one of those situations where the administration has done something that is very appalling, very disappointing. I'm proud to say that President Betts has stepped up and Dr. is concerned and things that we need to do in terms of moving forward. My role as the Senior Student Affairs Officer here on this campus is to ensure that we provide every opportunity for our students to have an opportunity to be here in a safe environment and have an opportunity to grow. And certainly this is one of those instances. Here on this campus, we have, during the last couple of weeks, had many conversations, and we want to continue to engage in those conversations. As Dr. Kenders mentioned, Dr. Jobe is very active right now, as well as his office overall, in terms of connecting with our congressional leadership to ensure that we are doing everything possible to make sure that our voices are heard. I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Let's continue to be great advocates in terms of reaching out to our congressional delegation, not only here in the metro area, but from your respective hometowns, in your communities. Get people on the phones, on emails, sending letters to those folks. Each one of those congressional delegates, they have representatives within their communities. They have offices. Go to those offices. Show up. Because those are the things that are going to make a difference. We've also realized that during this time that our action speaks louder than our words. I can't say enough about Dr. Mason, Deshaun Conway, and so many others, Dr. Churchill, and so many others who have been advocates during this period of time. Circling the wagon, so to speak, and making sure that all of our students have the resources that we need. We want to make sure that in the future, I had a conversation just yesterday afternoon, we want to make sure that we eliminate that coming in very rapidly, and a lot of it's changing along the way, and we want to make sure that there's accurate information. I've talked to our folks at Student Affairs to think about a way in which we can capture all the resources that are available for our students and put them out there specifically for DACA students, so that there's one resource location where they can go online to find out, as well as going to any of the offices that I mentioned a few moments ago. Likewise, I think it's very important that we continue to help our students to feel comfortable. I know that for undocumented students, one of their biggest fears is ICE. ICE coming to campus and invading campus and taking them away from their homes and away from their families. We want to make sure that we talk to our campus police as well as community police officers in the community to make sure that we assure them that there's a process in place. They're not just going to come in and swoop in and make that happen. We want to make sure that we are certainly in line with what the federal government is expecting. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we protect our students. We will continue to advocate for more programming. During the last couple of months, what I've seen also is there is a heightened level of distress amongst our students. Mental health is very important. I can't say enough about Julie Reed and her team and all that they do. We are seeing high numbers of students who are coming in for a variety of reasons, and certainly this is one of them. If we cannot serve those students here on this campus, Ms. Reed and her team have been great advocates in terms of reaching out to others in the community who can also help us in terms of facilitating support in terms of mental distress for our students. Now is certainly time for us to continue to circle our wagons, make sure that we do all that we can to help these students to be successful. This campus has been committed to this notion of global cultural competency. This mission, our mission, our values, our beliefs, all tie into that reality. And everything that you are doing right now is an opportunity for us to further that mission and that goal. So thank you so very much for this great program. Thank you for allowing me to be a part. And certainly please know that we are not behind you, but beside you in terms of moving forward on this.
Dr. Pope. Next we have Michonne Connolly. She is the Director of Office and Diversity.
Good morning. I am first like to say I'm so excited and my heart is so filled to see so many people who are here in support of and to be a voice of and on behalf of our DACA students. Your advocacy and your empathy is important and provide the support that is needed now and in the upcoming weeks and months. As we move forward, I think it's nice to remember when the announcement was made last week to rescind the DACA program, and even prior to that, so many to be a support and to discuss solutions and figure out how we can better the environment for our students. Everybody from the President's Office to Public Affairs and Leadership Central to UCOSA, the student body representative, they have all come together, and the unified message has been, you matter, you are important, and we will do what we can to support you. All evidence in our society is showing that our world is going to become more and more diverse. Diverse in gender, diverse in sexual orientation, diverse in age. It is important that these diverse their intellect and their passions and their creativity to give back to their communities. And that's exactly what our students who utilize the DACA program would like to do. They would like to use their intellect and their passion and their creativity to better themselves, their families, our community, our society, and how can we not support that? Last week, I released a letter on behalf of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion to express our support for our DACA students. And I would like to reinforce those words by reading a portion of that letter. And it started off with a quote from Cesar Chavez that read, "To make a great dream come true, the second requirement is persistence." The Office of Diversity and Inclusion at the University of Central Oklahoma wants to assure our students who participate in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program know that you are valued, loved, and supported. Your perseverance to be a student at the UCO campus to better yourself, your community, and your family exemplifies the spirit of why so many have come to our university. Your story is one that is centered on resiliency and determination, and is a journey that's respected and supported by UCO and the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. With the recent announcement to rescind the DACA program, we in the ODI understand that this is a moment of confusion, hurt, and fear. It's important you know that you are not alone. We are committed to our mission to advance cultural competence by providing an opportunity for our diverse communities to learn, thrive, and succeed. And it's during these times when we exemplify that mission by supporting our students' emotional well-being while allowing your voice and the voices of your peers to be heard through interaction and communication. We are here for you. You have our support. Once again, we are here for you, and you have our support.
Thank you so much for that. The Hispanic American Student Association, Salvador Arcibar.
Good morning. A little bit, just get really close to the mic. I know it's kind of gross, but just as close as you can get to the mic so we can hear all of you. Again, thank you all for joining us this morning. I appreciate everybody who showed up. The support is overwhelming, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of this university and this great institution. When I first decided where I was going to go and decided to come to UCO, the reason I came to this institution was because of the diverse and the inclusivity on campus. And that's really what drew me to this campus. And offices like the Hispanic Success Initiative and the Hispanic American Student Association and the Black Student Association, all these different orgs on campus that are enriching the culture on campus was what really drew me to this university. And so whenever this happened last week, and there was this fear that I felt, and this overwhelming sense of sadness, really, whenever this whole decision was to rescind DACA. I was like, I don't understand. Why is this happening right now? I don't understand. This should not be happening, right? Because these are individuals just like me, just like you. These are human beings who deserve equal rights, just like all of us. And so, as the president of the Hispanic American Students, to enrich our culture and to bring diversity and inclusion on campus. So our mission for the rest of the semester is to continue this conversation of DACA. We're going to hold forums. Next week on the 19th, we have an immigration education forum. We have invited some wonderful speakers to come educate our students about what DACA is and how we can help our students. Throughout the semester, we're going to hold a few call-a-thons to call our representatives and our senators. The idea is to keep the momentum going. This is just the first step. We're not going to stop here. This is only the beginning. So thank you all for coming today, and I really, really appreciate it, and God bless you.
Staff Association, as well as a Spanish professor.
Good morning. So now we know Salvador suffered every time he went to his aunt's and was greeted with kisses, no hugs. The Latino Faculty and Staff Association also released a communique last week. And on behalf of the members of the Latino Faculty and Staff Association, we stand with and wholeheartedly support our DACA and undocumented students at UCO. Our DACA students are thriving in college, and we are proud of their work, dedication, and success. Over 12,000 DACA applications in Oklahoma are part of the 800,000 DACA recipients are uncertain of their futures in the United States. The Latino Faculty and Staff Association appeals to our fellow Broncos and community members to reach out to Congress and urge our elected officials to find reasonable pathway to citizenship for these students. Michelle mentioned about education. Most of us that are here know about DACA, know about Dreamers, know about these laws that have been in Congress since 16 years ago. But there are a lot of people out there that don't know what DACA, what Dreamers are, what this path has been for these students, for these children since they were brought to the United States, since they were little kids. And I think it's among us, it is part of our job to pass this message to a lot of people that might not know, that probably want to support us, that are in one side or the other, that want to be in the right side of this what do I want to say, event in history. There's going to be a threshold in history in the United States. It's going to be a threshold in history, and hopefully, and it's going to be a reasonable and a positive one. It's a topic that hits too close to me, not only because I'm a Mexican and an immigrant myself. I come from a family of immigrants. Great-grandfather migrated to California and worked in Universal Studios in 1940. Doesn't get more American dream like that. Sister of my mom migrated in 1985, and she was part of the Simpson Rodino what's it called? The amnesty in 1987. So, and my sister and I migrated. She did it in 2000, and I did it in 2006. So, I have been part of a migrant family for too long. So, I'm here to support personally and as a part of LFSA and at UCO and nationwide. Thank you very much.
All right. Oh, okay. Hello. Next we have Dr. Churchill. Is that weird? Yeah. She is a director of the Women's Research Center.
Hi everybody. Before we get started, can we stand up and move forward? You've got these great signs, and maybe we can woo or cheer or clap so we can, yeah, there we go, yeah. All right. Awesome, thank you. So I am the director of the Women's Research Center and BGLTQ+ Student Center on campus, and we have been asked many times actually, why are you involved in this rally? Why do you feel so passionately about this issue? Why do you come out so passionately in support of Dreamers and DACA? And I think the answer is really simple. It's because we at the center in our communities should fight against all forms of social injustice and oppression. And I just want to let you know we are committed to equality and access for our students and for our communities. This is where you could woo and hold your kick-ass signs. There you go. All right. I asked them if they wanted to say anything. They tell me they don't want to, but they're here behind me because the center is behind you. Our students are with you. I also wanted to talk about, you're right, you really do have to kiss this thing. The faculty piece of this, which is in Faculty Senate, we actually have a resolution about DACA, about our students, and about DACA in general. And I wanted to read you some parts of that. I also wanted to thank Dr. Holt and Dr. Seagraves for this as well, and President Archuleta for her great leadership in this. This resolution will be put forth tomorrow for Faculty Senate to vote on. And I was just going to read you a couple of them. If you want to hold your signs and woo after each one, that would pump me up. Because we're all in this together. I know you have a lot of energy and things that you want to say and ways that you feel. So we said, and I'm not going to read you the whole thing, just certain parts of it. Whereas it is cruel and unusual to uproot and displace persons who have complied with the requirements presented to them to qualify for DACA status. Whereas introducing fear and uncertainty about a dreamer status makes them and their communities more vulnerable to crime and unwarranted stress without dependable recourse. Whereas the deportation of highly motivated, accomplished dreamers will damage businesses and our economy, as well as cause this country to be perceived as untrustworthy in upholding our programs. Whereas it would be unprecedented to strip 800,000 well-vetted young dreamers of their continued school and employment opportunities and send them to what amount to them foreign countries. Whereas this action impacts students, faculty, and staff at UCO and does not support UCO's commitment to inclusivity. Let me repeat that one again. Does not support UCO's commitment to inclusivity. We, as the Faculty Senate, hereby resolve to support their continued DACA status without threat or interruption and prevail on our state and federal representatives to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Churchill. All I can say is, woo! Next, we have Alejandro Munoz. He is a sophomore at OSU, and he's going to tell you a bit about himself and his story.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Sweet. All right, well, like she said, my name is Alejandro Raigosa Munoz, and I come from Mexico, Villanueva, Zacatecas, born in November 3rd, 1997. I immigrated here with my mother in about when I was a year and a half old, because, I mean, the United States has better education than Mexico right now, and in some parts of Mexico, you do need to pay to go to school starting middle school. So we do have, you know, that benefit in the U.S. to have free school, right? How great is that? We get free public school. I came here when I was a year and a half old, and I didn't know I was undocumented until I was in 6th grade. And that's when I started actually looking to what I wanted to do in the future, you know, get a driver's license and go to college. So my parents actually had to speak with me. They said, hey, you're going to have to work under someone else's name. You're going to have to probably not even drive legally. So if you get stopped, you know, you have a chance of getting deported. So that was really, I was really fearful of that. I did not want to do anything like that for sure. so the Dream Act passed, and then I was able to get my my temporary social security number and my driver's license, and be able to get an actual job with actual people, you know, legally. And I felt like a citizen. I felt like I was the richest man in the world. I'm like, wow, I got papers now. Look at me. You know, how many people can say that, right? So yeah, I started working, and then I'm going to college now, like she said, OCOKC. My major is early childhood education, so I want to be a teacher. Teachers out there. Yeah, so God willing, in the future, if I'm still here and everything's going well, we'll be attending UCO for my major. So I am also part of El Camino. As y'all have been seeing, we've been having different events to advocate on behalf of dreamers out there. And last thing I want to talk about is Tuesday's announcement and how my reaction was. Well, I was in class. I got out of class like an average college student, and my pastor, Dr. John Mark Hart, I don't know if most of y'all heard him speak before. He called me. He said, "Hey, you know, it's been repealed and this and that." So I know on my campus I have my streams of water, or like the people who I go to speak to this about, and I bet you have this in campus as well. Psalms 1 talks about being planted by streams of water and poured into. So I know all you who are documented, as we call ourselves, and who are immigrants here and who are undocumented, I know you have your streams of water in this campus. And I just tell you right now, go to the streams of water. Because if you can see this community in front of me, it is an encouragement, it is a blessing, and it is empowered. This is power. Like Judith Huerta said, power is in numbers. I'm going to say that again. Power is in numbers. So I thank you guys for letting me come out here and share a little bit of my testimony. And I thank you guys for actually supporting us. I felt alone. I bet a lot of us felt alone. But look around. This is family. And this is people who love us. So I will give you a call to action, which I'll challenge myself to do as well. Now, between the 6 months now, I challenge you to seek out your congressmen and keep on talking to them, keep on writing out to them, and go out to every event you can. Be the voice of those who can't speak. Be the ears and be the person of those who can't not. Because we have no voting. We have no rights to vote right now, or we don't have much things to do. But we do have you guys who can do it for us. So thank you guys. Thank you, Salvador, for inviting me. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Next we have Luis Frias, who is a UCO student and also a DACA recipient.
First of all, thank you guys for being here. It's truly overwhelming, the support that I, myself, and many other DACA recipients have received. So, as she said, I'm a DACA recipient. To start, I'd like to give you all a quick history of my story. My family immigrated here when I was 4 years old. As you all can imagine, I had no idea that I was coming into this country undocumented. And just like Alejandra said, I didn't realize I was undocumented until 6th grade also. And so, growing up, everything was fine, but as you get older, you start to realize some of the challenges that you're going to face and things like that. So as time went on, the fear started kicking in and it became a lot more real. And you started to realize how many opportunities you were going to miss. So, I have it written down, so I'm going to stick to my script. So, as I said, I'm a DACA recipient in December, thankfully, with a degree in biomedical sciences. And so, thank you. I originally applied for DACA in 2013 and was granted temporary lawful status. And this has allowed me to do many, many things which are everyday things to many people, and like driving, going to school, working, and things like that. And so The decision that was made on Tuesday, September 5th, was truly heartbreaking because it could potentially jeopardize everything that I have worked for and hope to achieve in the future. And so it's kind of heartbreaking, but as you all can see, a lot of positivity can come out of it. So I was asked to speak here today as a result of a Facebook post that I made which went viral. And for those of you who have not gotten the chance to see it, it basically just sheds some light on my everyday life, and this life includes. And so I decided to speak up on my Facebook post solely to educate those who are not familiar with this issue, and wanted them to know that people affected by this are right here in their neighborhood. I wanted people to know, to be able to put a face to this issue and realize that it is not a matter of statistics, but rather people just like me. I never imagined I would get this much love and support from people in our community. For those of you who are directly affected by this, and even if you are just a supporter, I can tell you firsthand that there are a lot of great people rooting for us. I wanted to take this opportunity to say there's a huge spotlight on DACA right now, and we have to tread carefully because of this. Opposition is inevitable, so we do not need to add more fuel to their fire. So when presented with opposition, we need to always counter with love and compassion and hear what they have to say. That being said, now is not the time to succumb to opposition or let anyone undermine you or your voice. We live in a generation that rapidly goes through phases, and it is my fear that this issue, like all others, will soon be out of the spotlight. I have made my personal agenda to be proactive in this issue. So I want to thank you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys know that to truly make a difference, we need to reach out to our congressman, Senator James Langford, Jim and our representative. Thank you guys for being here, and love that you guys have shown me and my family is truly overwhelming, and I want to thank you guys on my behalf and the behalf of every DACA recipient and supporter. Thank you guys.
Next, we have Chauncey Shillo. He's the associate pastor at Christ Community Church, and he's also here with El Camino.
I want to first of all say thank you to Alejandro and Luis. You guys are the real heroes. You guys are doing what many people would never dare to do. So good morning and buenos dias. It's exciting to be here this morning. My name is Chauncey Shillo. I'm a pastor at Christ Community Church in South Oklahoma City. And I want to say thank you to Salvador and Talia for organizing this event. I am here because I stand with dreamers. And for me, this is a Christian. On one hand, in the Bible, in Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 19, it says, love the sojourner, which is fitting. I mean, it is fitting that the God of the Bible, the God of self-giving love, would ask his people to remember those who are the most quickly forgotten. It is fitting. It is fitting that the God who made and knows the heart and the soul of every individual who is made in his image, would say, hey, do not ignore the plight of those who would be quickly seen as different. It is fitting. It is fitting that the God who gave his son for the good of humanity would remind his people not to forsake those who have left their home for the good of their families and for opportunity. It is fitting. God commands love for the sojourner, which is fitting from a God of love. But that's not the only reason this is easy for me. This is an easy issue for me because this is a family issue for me. You see, in the Bible, in Galatians chapter 3, the Apostle Paul writes these words. He says, "In Christ Jesus, you are all sons of God through faith. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." This means that if someone has a different skin color than me, if they speak a different language from me, if they have a different set of documentation from me, this means that if they're in Christ, they're still family. You heard Alejandro speak a little bit ago. Alex is one of my students when I taught high school at Santa Fe South on the south side of Oklahoma City. I taught theater and I taught English. He was a theater student of mine. He comes from Zacatecas. I come from Anchorage, Alaska. We're family. I taught Evelyn. Evelyn's a student that was one of my kids in my theater class. She came from Chihuahua. Then she came to Oklahoma City because of an abusive father. She was in my class. She was my family. Now, Evelyn really showed me what this means one year, because one year I had my students write their own monologues. And the whole purpose was to write a deeply personal event for yourself and then have a fellow student read that monologue and recite it as if it were their own. And the night before we gave these monologues, I called Evelyn, because that day she had left my room crying. And I was at Target, so I gave her a call and I said, "Evelyn, what's going on? How are you?" She said, "I'm wonderful." I said, "You left my room crying today. What's going on?" She said, "I was crying because I really realized what today means. It means that the people that you talk to, the people that are coming to our event tomorrow, are going to hear our stories. They're going to hear our voices. We've never heard our voices. They've never heard our stories, and tomorrow will be the day that they hear what we have to say. They're going to hear our stories. And today I'm here because people need to hear the stories of Alejandro. They need to hear the stories of Evelyn. They need to hear the stories of Luis. Because God sees their stories. He knows their stories. He's intimately familiar with their stories, and He cares about them. So if you're here today and you're a DACA recipient, I want to say that the church here in South Oklahoma City, in Edmond, in Oklahoma City, we stand with you. Because I believe that God stands with you. I believe that the Bible is for you. I believe that the God of love sees you. He knows your story and He cares about you. So if you feel like your story is forgotten, if you feel like your story isn't seen, just know that we hear you and that we see you, and that you're valued, and that you're made in the image of God, and therefore you have infinite worth. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Just know that I stand with you and I stand with dreamers. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very moving. You made my sister cry. So, so I'm crying. Okay. Next, we have Tracy Morales. She is the program director at Aspiring Americans.
Hello everyone, thank you for being here. It means so much. So as you can see, we have a very passionate and particular special place for these students here, because we couldn't see living in Oklahoma without these students. I have, since 2014 and before then, 2009, worked with undocumented students. And I continue to see their successes, and I continue to push for them. Because what are we without them? Why? You know, it is cruel to tell these dreamers that they can have a piece of the American dream, and then tell them to step out into the government, and then tell them we're going to take it away from you. They had that one opportunity, and it is being taken away from them. I want to take a minute to put into perspective what an undocumented student may be going through. But what they may be going through, if I asked you, what did you wear yesterday? Could you tell me? I know that I couldn't. So then I have to tell you, provide me all of this information since 2007 so that you can be considered to receive a driver's license, a work permit, and a social security number. To finally have an identity. To finally be considered in the United States. And many of these dreamers are coming out of the shadow, and they are constantly bashed with ridiculous comments like, just take the citizenship exam. Just come the right way. Get in line. And we often forget that many of the families of these undocumented students are mixed status families. So that may have applied for their child to become a citizen when the child was 2 years old, but it has taken years. So now the student is over 21 and they are no longer in line, that you may call. So now the parents may be residents or citizens and they see that their child is an undocumented person in the United States. Many of these parents are constantly bashed and they are blamed. And I have a student who I want to share her testimony here. She said, once I realized that I could apply for DACA, I gathered all my awards to show my worth. I gathered them to show the government that I am worth the investment. I received a driver's license. I took the most awkward. Finally, at 15, I had an identity. Something that maybe my parents will never have in the United States. I had to miss school in order to provide my fingerprints and take a picture of myself so that USCIS could track me and my undocumented family. A trade that any amount of money will never be able to repay. But most importantly, she said, please don't blame my parents. Don't blame them for wanting to give her a better life. And that's something that we don't consider. That these students are not coming out of the shadows for fame. They're coming out of the shadows with fear. They're trembling as they come out here to tell you what they're experiencing. And what we also don't see is on the other side of the camera, on the other side of that newspaper, there are parents at home that are afraid that their child can be deported at any time for speaking out for the benefit of others. Because unlike when the DREAM Act failed in 2010, now there is a crowd of people that say, I support you. Because now we see undocumented students at our universities. Because now we have undocumented families. Because now we are. So I thank you all for being here, and I hope that you continue this momentum so that we can pass something for these students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Reverend T. Cherie Dickerson. She is the director of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Good morning, UCO in Oklahoma City.
Good morning.
I am a minister, I am the ED, and I am someone who, with all of my training, with everything that I know, have not been able to actually formulate statements or sermons because sometimes the words are not enough. We've run out of them. We have become tired of having to say them. One of the things that the young lady just said is that those who are DACA recipients are told to do it the right way. When I was in high school, which was a very long time ago, many of you probably weren't even born, or I'm old enough to be your mother. In high school, we used to say, if you're going to step to us, you have to come correct. And that just meant that you had to do it in a way that the person who you were forming this relationship or conversation with was able to understand it. It's hard for me to look at a demographic of people that we say, and I say we because I take ownership for some of the absurdities that those in America have said, even being a person with black skin, when we say come correct from a group of people who didn't come correct in the first place. Yeah. That we take ownership over something that was not our territory. That we were okay in slaughtering a people just for capitalism and personal gain and agendas. We're going to have to start telling the truth about it if we want to expose what needs to really happen. I don't know how you put that in a speech. I don't know how you preach it from a pulpit, but I can tell you that on September the 5th, when I heard it, one of the things that I began to lament over were women who I consider my friends, my sisters, and my squad. One of them has been mentioned several times, Judith Pureta, and she's my friend. She's my friend because when I have moments of travail, it has never mattered my ethnicity, my position, or what I was doing. I know that she reached out and said, I have your back and how can I help you? I got worried because I didn't want to lose my friend. I began to focus on how this would actually affect myself. I had a very selfish moment because I didn't want to have to worry about my friend Angelica Villalobos and saying what was going to happen if something to her children, who would take care of them, that we were okay with taking apart families. That's never okay. What I wanted to say to them is that I love you, I am here, I support you, but I honestly really don't know what to do because nothing right now in America makes sense. In November, we were dealt a really, really tragic blow, and that's from a personal standpoint. But there was an entitlement of people who felt like they got to govern what happens with everyone else that is here because of the differences, instead of focusing on the commonalities. The last couple of months, we have no longer become interested or committed to simply being the best part of humanity. Humanity has become flawed today. And so I'm going to challenge you to decide how you can make a difference. Words are very important. We know that just a couple of words is able to destroy an entire demographic of people, to make them feel less than, to make them feel devalued. We're able to tell them that they don't matter. We're able to say that you don't belong here. We're able to facilitate an absurd group of lies. It is dishonest. As a country, as a people, as humanity, we have become very comfortable in being dishonest and no longer allowing love to be the core of what we do. We say that is the principle of who we are. We told people when they used to come here that we were excited that you knew that this was a place where you could seek refuge. Now we tell them that you're not welcome and we really just don't care about what happens. Well, I want to tell you here today that I myself, who's just Cherie, I care. I want to tell you that I'm trying to figure out what it is that we can do that will actually help resolve the problem. I am calling on people, especially our clergy, our community leaders, and our legislators to make the changes. Commit to making the changes. Stop wasting our time worrying about taxes of which you don't plan on doing the correct things with the money that you say you're going to do, and put the money into the people that are doing the work, that are serving the country, that want to serve in the military, that want to be leaders in the community action, different types of groups, that want to sit here and just say, I simply believe that I deserve to have the same opportunities. There's a lot of intersectional connections with black and brown bodies. We have been targeted. We have been disrespected. We have been called illegal. We have been called terrorists. I have sat with my Muslim sisters and brothers. I have sat with my friends who are Asian Americans who are DACA recipients. I have sat with a group just this week of communities from Senegal who actually have the #1 demographic that are being targeted and deported, and their statuses being canceled and sent away. I saw at the prayer vigil on Sunday, someone had a sign and it said, "You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one." Well, one of my icons that I hold true and I try to emulate, he had a dream too. And we need to begin to bring it to fruition. We need to be committed to basically embracing everyone and with ivory white skin or brown beautiful olive skin and brown skin and black skin and not understand that problem. And we need you to change your paradigm and start having your families back. Start beginning to encourage them. Start making the calls. Start writing your legislators. Be prepared to stand in defense of them. With Black Lives Matter, we ask people to grab these cell phones that we have, technology, when you see some form of injustice happening. Well, I'm calling on you to do the same thing for any of our DREAMA and our DACA recipients. You need to stand in defense of them. That is a heavy request. We understand it. I know it. Some of us are living it on a daily basis. But if you're really true, if you're the radical rebels that are standing here saying that I'm committed to making the change, then you documenting something that shouldn't be happening and speaking against it and raising your voices and making sure that you're in the ballot places and marking the ballots to those that are going to make changes. This is your least reasonable service. That is the least that you can do. Continue to support the organizations, the litigators and the attorneys that are doing the work at low cost or pro bono, but do not disrespect or offend someone who really has the same rights that you do to be here, because we were all created in one image and we are all the same. So if you are one that says that I am a dreamer as well, and that is a ideology that you should be prepared to adopt, that if you say this is you, that I am her, or I am him, I am they, then I am calling you to stand up, make the call, do the work, continue the challenge, and defend those that are less than we. God bless you. Thank you. And dreamers, we stand with you.
Luis is going to come back up to say a few words, but before he does that, I just want to thank all of the leaders on campus for coming out, including Provost Barthel. Thank you for just taking time out of your busy schedules to come show support.
I just wanted to come back up and thank you guys and apologize for earlier. As you can tell, I'm not a public speaker, and I guess I was just overcome with emotion. But thank you guys for the support. You guys have all been amazing, and we couldn't do anything without you guys, so thank you guys very much.
All right, for our last speaker scheduled, we have the UCOSA president, Stockton Duvall. I don't know if you guys read his statement. I would definitely check it out. It's one of the first statements I read, and I was really moved by his solidarity and his support, so he's going to say a few words.
First off, thank you to HASA and other groups for allowing me to speak today, especially just hearing like a couple of the last speakers here. I'm probably not the most qualified person to be up here. Whenever I was hearing about the actions that were being taken, the first thing I thought was, what if this was me? What if this was my parents who brought me into this country at 3 years old, at 5 years old, and I didn't have a choice. I didn't have any say in that. And then I was told by my government that I might not be protected here. America is my only home. And I also thought about what would I expect my UCO community to do. So that's what I framed my statement around. It's important, and I know that everybody has said this over and over again, but I mean, words are only so much until you actually make action with them. It's important that we are contacting our DC reps, our senators, our representatives and all our legislators and telling them your story, telling them your friend's story, your family's story, telling them why you believe what you believe, because that's where change is going to happen. That's where speak again, Hassa, and keep up the good work.
Thank you again. We are now opening up the mic to anyone should they want to share a couple of opinions or thoughts about today or this past week or the next 6 months. All right, so I will wrap it up. First, I would love to direct you to the tables just north of the blue tent. We have a bunch of cards where you could send to your representatives, and everyone says something about this. I highly encourage it, just because we are a nation that is rich in history of people fighting for liberties and opportunities for future generations. Some people, it's generations here in the United States of America, and some people, they're the first generation, and like, all I can say is now it's your turn to do that. People have done it for us, now you do it. And one easy, quick way to do it is just filling out those cards. We have them at the table. Please do it. And then we also have, if you don't know who your senator is, we know who your senator is. If you don't know who your representative is, we have maps about where that is. Should you not be from Oklahoma, because this is a university, people come from all around the world in the country. So you can ask us, and we could be like more than glad to help you find who your representatives are. Other than that, that's about it. Thank you again for coming out and showing support. Keep an eye out on our HASA Facebook page about what else we're doing throughout the next 6 months. And we have a speaker who wants to say something, so
is it morning? Or I don't even know what time it is. Hi, good morning, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces, which is awesome, and a lot of unfamiliar faces, which is also awesome. My name is Victor Vargas. I am a DACA recipient, and it's so moving and astonishing to see everybody out here supporting people like me, the struggles I go through day by day. I'm a senior here at UCO, just like the other seniors around here. I see my LOT community back there. I saw Stockton Duvall just talk. Very good person, very good person. I see Tracy Medina over here, Jessica Vasquez, and a couple other college professors. Well, some college professors. It's so beautiful to me to see just the crowd out here. It's very moving to me. I know I can even see a couple kines students out here. I'm a kinesiology major. Yay! So yeah. Keep doing what we're doing. I just had an interview with News Channel 4. Should be aired at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock or something like that on DACA. So if you guys want to check that out too, please keep raising awareness. And I didn't expect to speak today. I'm in shorts. I'm sorry. But thank you. You guys have a good day.
Hey, thanks. So unless anyone else wants to say something, we are getting ready. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Like, it's kind of interesting how this all like coincides. We had